All right, so after our interesting conversation last week, it's time to get back into pretty much strictly just the Bible this time. We're going to do Genesis 6, starting in verse 5. Looks like all the way through 7:16. Do you want to go ahead and read that, or should we do it in a section?
I can't see and I don't know where my glasses are.
Genesis 6, verse 5.
I can start the reading. Go ahead. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And read through 12.
Yeah.
And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. This is the genealogy of Noah. He was a just man, perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth.
Okay, so that's the first section. So this is prepping for the flood. I assume everybody knows Noah flood like this.
Yes.
Good in everyone's brain. So this covers the why and also his sons. I'm not sure why we have the genealogy. So if you know this, all the earth is corrupted with violence. All flesh has been corrupted and lost its.
I was like, no.
Well, we're in the days of Noah. As in the days of Noah.
Yes, as in the days of Noah. But to go back to our conversation last week, it sounds like if you break apart these wordings here, everybody except for Noah and his immediate family, and there's also some argument about anyone besides Noah, was corrupted with the Nephilim DNA.
That's one thing that's always confused me. I know a lot. So he and his family were the only people not corrupted at all whatsoever on the earth.
That's
according to the Bible.
That's the implication.
There must have not been that many people.
Let's just put it this way. Probably was the only one who didn't have the corrupted DNA and was trying to follow.
It's just crazy to
That
think
makes
that the
sense.
entire earth was just that gross. But it makes sense if he had to do this, if it was that extreme. It would have been. It is that extreme.
Well, look what's happening now with all the people. They're falling away like crazy from God.
And to be fair,
Corrupted. And
I see these facts. We have like another 1,000 years as human beings. We'd be immortal.
With the way we're going and with the technology, I'm sure we figure out a way to upload our consciousness to the computers in 1,000 years. I would not be surprised. But God does say, or the Bible does say, that these times are hurried because if he didn't, there'd be no flesh left on earth or something like that.
Makes sense.
I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact wording. So that's my interpretation. The conversation about is Noah and all his family just pure blooded humans, or some of them have Nephilim blood in it. Some people think that some people think that Noah's wife had the corrupted DNA and that got passed on to her children, which is how the Nephilim or Rephilim or whatever phrase you want to use for it appeared later. That's not my personal view, but I can't argue against it. Besides, I just don't think so because it doesn't fit with how I see things.
That wouldn't have made any sense because God would have known that was going to happen.
Right. So why would you wipe out everything with this intent of wiping out this corruption in the DNA and stuff, but allow Noah's wife to have it? Just seems really odd behavior to me.
I agree.
Well, and the enemy could have found another way to corrupt things afterwards. He's always looking for another avenue.
Right.
Not in the same way as originally they did, but there was still another way to corrupt the flesh.
So to go on to that, and we're going to do the brief jump ahead, and then we're going to come back. Is if you read the story about Babel, Nimrod, it says Nimrod was becoming a mighty man. The word for mighty there is gibberon. I probably am pronouncing that way wrong, but that's a reference to wording comes back to the same idea as giant. So he was somehow becoming a giant again, and a mighty hunter before man, which really the better translation is a mighty hunter of men. So he was becoming like the giants, and he built the Tower of Babel to try to reach the heavens, which sounds a lot more like he was trying to bring these angels down again to recreate the giants from before. That's my interpretation, and we can discuss that way more in depth when we get to Babel, but that's what I see. I see 3 total incursions. We got the one before the flood, we got Babel, and then we got the one during the final 7 years.
Wasn't the Nephilim, you've got 2 different Nephilim. You've got these Nephilim that were hybrids that had superpowers and they're part human, part angel.
Yes.
Then afterwards, you have a different Nephilim that's completely human, but a huge
No,
line
they're not.
that came from
completely
certain
human.
places.
The feeling of or spirit or angel, fallen angel, and impregnated by a woman. So they're the offspring of spirit and flesh.
So there's a
Right.
couple
And
theories
after
there.
the flood was just big giants that they could kill.
I guess a better way to put it. Anybody hear of a demigod? It's the best way to put it. Like
From
Hercules. or something.
Moana.
Yes, they were like Hercules, the ones before the flood.
That's the best example he's given me. Just like
Ones
Hercules.
After the flood were just really big,
And they all had tragic
a
ends.
line of big people from a certain tribal line.
Well, from the wording that the spies used, they used,
Amorites or the whatever they were.
the wording the spies used is they said these guys are not, so they said they were actually.
Yo, and I forgot that verse. They actually were terrified. They're like, we're not going in there. That's real life stuff right there. But that ain't made up. They're like, dude, these things have been dead for so long, and you're telling us to go and fight these legends of old. I'm not going in this city.
So from what I can, and using some of the other stuff, is the descriptions of the Nephilim pre-flood are these gigantic men. I'm talking like absolutely massive, huge,
Like 19, 20 feet tall.
yeah. But then we get to like Goliath until 9, 10 feet tall, which is still
Different
large.
type of
Little
Nephilim.
shrimpy guy.
So my belief here, and there's a ton of interpretations. My personal one is that because we find out, I want to say in Jude or maybe Peter, the angels that first did the Nephilim were locked up in Tartarus, which is the deepest pit in the underworld, using the Greek mythological term. The next group, the incursion that happened at Babel, were weaker angels, or something like they learned some weird genetic mutation off of some saved writings that survived the flood. If you really want more details of that, Wayne has his book series Genesis 6 Conspiracy, which really goes into a lot of the detail about how all this survived the flood using different myths around from Mesopotamia and other areas.
My favorite was Gilgamesh. They held on to a cube and then survived. That's literally what happened. The boat was a cube, and they just grabbed onto it, and they didn't drown.
So that's absurd.
I know, it's just funny, because the cube can't even float like that. It'll just bounce around on the sea, just gambling. It ain't gonna go very far.
So that's my belief on there's a second incursion, second time this happened with either weaker angels or through some weird genetic manipulation that was somehow passed through the flood. Some people believe that because Noah's wife was actually a Nephilim or part Nephilim, that DNA was passed down through to Canaanites, and that's where they appeared from. But my other argument against that is, as we talked about last week, demons are the dead Nephilim. How come we don't have that same problem now? And how could anyone could be saved? So this seems absurd. So these are the theories that I wrestle with when it comes to that.
Well, if you said they're a genetic mutation, which God could have allowed, could it have been from one of the wives? And that's why they only went down certain, not from Noah's wife, but from one of the wives
It's entirely
that they
possible.
married. And that's why it went down certain lines where these giants were always in certain group, clans, or bloodlines.
It's entirely possible.
And I don't know, to me, it seems like because they were fully human, they could be killed. They weren't spirits, but they have
they
to
got
be a
banged and
genetic,
killed. That's for
a
sure.
genetic one. They could be killed.
And
And
people, nowadays,
They're fully
suddenly,
human.
almost like parents end up having a childhood growth thing, and the kids can go 5 inches tall.
It does happen.
I
Maybe
mean,
God
the Giants, for example,
allowed that genetic mutation
sometimes things just happen. I don't really know why.
Entirely possible. I can't argue
to
against
fulfill his mission to scare the Israelites.
To be fair, if Nephilim came back around, they are not. They ain't surviving now.
Well,
We're shooting them to hell. Literally, Goliath got dropped by a shepherd sling and it busted open his head. And he put a 12 gauge to one of their dome pieces and let it rip, and you're gonna kill them.
Because they were none of them had supernatural power. They were just big and
it's big,
strong.
yeah. Well, this opposite. Some people are very small. Some people have
Not like the other
They
one.
don't know where it came from. They don't have any ancestors. They're saying,
Were eating
situation, all
people
of a
and
sudden,
everything
Big
else.
Nephilim on
birth and-
t-shirts.
the child has a pituitary problem or something. Sometimes they just happen.
Yes.
We don't really know why.
So the answer for how they survived the flood is There's no, well, how they came about afterwards, because we know that they happened again. How that happened is up for debate. Pretty much I've hit every single major theory already in this conversation. I have mine, other people have theirs. There's also the theory that the flood was just localized as well, instead of worldwide. I don't buy that pretty much at all, but it is a common theory. There's also another theory out there that the angelic beings took a couple of the Nephilim and transported them into somewhere in the spiritual realm or something like that and kept them safe. Again, I don't buy that. These are out there. A lot of these things, we have our Bible, which we know is truth, and then we have our theories where we can go, well, maybe this. Which one lines up best with the Bible? Just cycle it back. And all of that is why he did the flood. Was to remove this. All right. Can somebody read 6:13 through 7:5?
Anyway, then God said to Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me. The earth is full with violence because of them. And behold, I am about to destroy them with the earth. Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood. You shall make the ark with rooms and shall cover it inside and out with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark 300 cubits, its breadth 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark and finish it to a cubit from the top. And set the door of the ark on the side of it. You shall make it with lower, second, and third decks. And behold, I am bringing the flood of water upon the earth to destroy all flesh, in which is the breath of life. From under heaven, everything that is set on earth shall perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall enter the ark, you and your sons, and your wives, and your sons' wives with you. And if every living thing of all flesh should bring 2 of every kind into the ark, to keep them alive with you, it shall be male and female, of the birds after their kind, and of the animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing of the ground after its kind, 2 of every kind, to come to you to keep them alive. And as for you, take for yourself some of all food which is edible, and gather it to yourself, and it shall be for food for you and for them. Thus Noah did according to all that God had commanded him. So he did. Then the Lord said to Noah, enter the ark, you and all your household. You alone I have seen to be righteous before me at this time. You take with you 2 of every clean animal by sevens, a male and female, and of the animals that are not clean, 2. A male and his female. Also the birds of the sky by 7, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of all the earth. But after 7 more days, I will send rain on the earth, 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the face of the land every living thing that I have made. And Noah did according to all that the Lord had commanded him.
Yeah.
Keep going?
Perfect.
Okay.
That's plenty long enough passage, and that's a direction. So it's pretty clear. Is there stuff missing that we would probably like? Yes, but it's clear enough. And people have modeled this boat, and it's pretty much the best boat to survive a flood.
Just can't steer.
Just can't steer.
Okay.
That's right. Well, God was steering. You can speak up.
God was steering.
That's the point I was just about to make. Do you need to steer a boat if God's in control?
No, just funny to
No,
think
he
God's
shut
like,
the
we're on
door,
it.
so he might as well steer the
Got
boat.
it.
So
And,
It applies to tell whether it was going north or south or east, west anyway.
yes.
All I thought about was water.
Jesus quite
It's like
literally
people
took the
been-
wheel.
People in the middle of the ocean have no idea if they're going toward land or away from land. They can't tell. So,
That's
but
right.
God knew.
God knew.
That's why he got them on where they should be eventually.
So that can always be a reassurance to us when we're let. I might feel like I'm adrift, but guess who's in control?
Exactly, that's a good analogy.
And he's in control of all the stuff.
He's in control of all the storms. That's right.
Yes, he is.
But look what Jesus did, he calmed the waters.
Yes.
Right.
One of the cooler words funny.
I'm gonna take a nap. Why are you waking me up? I thought we were gonna get to the other side. Okay. So in our normal story of Noah and the ark, it's always animals arrive 2 by 2, right?
Yes.
Does that sound like what it says here? Versus the beginning of 7?
No.
I have something to 7.
Yes.
They have to be 14 because 7 is an uneven number. 7 males, 7 females of each of
Yep.
the clean animals.
So the clean animals and the birds, they have 7 sets.
Yep.
Why would we need 7 sets of clean animals and only 1 set of the
Weren't they
I don't know.
allowed to eat them?
after the flood? That's right. The
They
lousy-
were gonna eat them?
Yep. You need to make sure you have enough so that you can eat them. And the animals were gonna start eating each other.
Every animal? They're gonna eat even the tigers and giraffes?
Well, we were allowed under the Noahic covenant,
Yeah.
Or tiger meat.
we're allowed to eat any animal that we want. The dietary laws are for Israel.
So that it doesn't pertain to us.
Is it probably a good idea? Yes.
Like pork, it's a sin against your flesh, it's not a sin against God.
Definitely has health, it can have health side effects. Although I will say pork is delicious.
Right.
Spare ribs.
Spare ribs, there you go. And then the first thing you see he does after everyone disembarks is he offers up a sacrifice. So that's the other reason, is if he was going to sacrifice clean animals, as saying, hey, this is my sacrifice for our sins, well, all of a sudden the animals gone. So, and Noah's acting as a high priest at that time. So when he makes the sacrifice, it's for his entire family, which at that point is the entire family.
And to be fair, for 40 days and 40 nights, you can realistically survive off of like 4 full grown animals. That would be a lot of meat.
Well, you couldn't eat till afterwards.
Oh,
And they were on the
After
boat
what?
for a lot
After
longer
the
than
flood.
40 days.
man, I'd be
Oh,
hungry
yeah.
as heck on that boat.
Well, he said to bring food.
It's a
I
big
know,
food.
but come on, there already is food. Well, I'm thinking human. I'm like, there's meat. At this point, they don't think about barbecue. I'm not
Could
gonna
have been
lie.
vegetables.
Well,
No,
we're
they-
saying, vegetarians or whatever
Yeah.
before.
They had bread,
So
vegetables,
they're
fruit,
already
things like
used to not eating meat because they never really ate. I don't think
Yeah.
that they ate it.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking about sitting there just
But they were
roasting
on the
the
boat
ox.
longer.
You've
weren't they?
never had
120
meat before,
days.
your body couldn't even.
It rained for 40 days.
They were on
point. Yeah, you get really
Your body
sick.
can't even eat it because it doesn't have the enzymes.
They were on the boat for over a year.
Okay, a long time, so they had to be able to feed themselves.
So now here's a question. What did all the animals eat?
Well, they said to put on the boat.
grain,
The food.
vegetables,
And
plant matter.
what about if God put them in a hibernation state?
Yeah.
That could be.
That'd make it a lot easier, probably would smell better.
And it
Yeah.
didn't say how big those animals were. They could have all been babies, male and female.
But very
They
well.
shouldn't have eaten that
That's
much
a good
food.
point too. Yeah.
Didn't say they were adults.
No, we just think they're adults, but that's
They
not.
could have
what's
been
actually-
baby animals.
And then there's a lot of room.
You could get a lot of animals on there and a
Yeah.
lot less food.
And it also says after its kind, each animal. So not every single species,
Right.
but every single kind that can come up. For example, dogs, wolves, I think coyotes as well.
They'd be the same one.
They could be one and then they split over time.
Big
Yeah.
cats too could be one and
Because
then.
they said dogs came from wolves, so if wolf was the species or the kind,
Yeah, they'd have to have,
you don't need every.
they'd have to have sheepdogs and poodles
Every
and
subkind.
everything.
Yes.
One animal, other animals too, yeah.
So that just killed a couple of the objections that we frequently hear about Noah's flood.
Yeah.
Wasn't too hard to poke holes in those objections, was it?
Also, weirdly enough, on paper, historically, the Great Flood is one of the biggest things talked about with every single culture ever in any history.
Correct.
And in here, he said it was everything on earth.
Yep.
Everything,
That's why the Great Flood is worldwide.
everywhere.
Everybody talked about something. A Great Flood that just washed away and destroyed the
Where
earth.
is it? They actually says.
Oh, you can look this up. Multiple cultures, almost every major
No,
culture.
but I'm saying that the bill actually, it's in the mountains right now. It's like.
Oh, Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
They think they have found it. There's some evidence that seems to indicate that.
Isn't it in Greece or?
No, it's in
Turkey, right?
Turkey,
I want to say about Arafat.
Not Ararat or something like that, right? Ararat, something
in
like that.
Turkey, they're pretty sure that it's the ark.
It's
That's what that
pretty
is.
convincing.
Because they're not gonna find. They found like the area where it's like an outer casing of what it would once be. They said the area is like full of degraded compost and things of that nature. So it's like above average. Would have matched where it would have been, I guess.
That's what they say. I'm not gonna be dogmatic about it.
No.
Has anybody here been to the agriculture in
What's that?
Kentucky? Oh my goodness, it's a big,
Isn't-
I'm going there.
I've
You
been
know,
there.
look how they got the animals on there.
I've been there, the rod did it.
What
But
is
it's
it?
interesting, they rebuilt the ark
Oh,
for the specifications. And they have, they're not real animals, but they did a lot of like the animals where the one animal, like, again, they don't have dogs and coyotes and tigers and lions, but they had different, but they all, I guess, eventually came, started to become different cats, different dogs, and kind of so forth. They showed that, and they went into how they fed all the animals, and they had to think of what they had to do. They had to take care of the waste, all the stuff they had to do with it. So it was isn't just as easy as all the animals get on the ark, and they're all looking out the ark.
That's why I
Quite
think the
complicated.
animals were hibernating.
Some of them probably were, at least for half the year.
Right.
The bears, They don't hibernate.
A lot of animals hibernate.
Yes,
So.
they do.
And we're thinking about them. I'm thinking just on that end about them being like totally normal animals is now. They probably look a little bit different. They're probably different kinds and not as many as now.
Right. We are talking the 4,500 years ago, according to the biblical timelines, give or take.
That would have been different.
Give or take a few hundred years.
Yeah, it may have probably started as baby animals, but in a year, animal grows pretty fast. So
But again, if God supernaturally put them all as hibernating,
exactly, you could have done that too.
then it's fine.
From all the sleep.
You're right that God sent them in there. The text actually points out that God put the animals in there. So Moses started, Noah didn't have to go running around hunting these animals and trying to.
The fowl in a single assembly. Out of the boat. Hey, go.
Well, look at the variations in just ourselves, because if we originally came from Noah, look at the variations, skin colors, sizes, shapes, it's all adaptation, just like you have all the different dogs and cats and foxes. And
Reminds me.
So
You ever hear the
you can see how.
Bill Cosby thing on Noah's Ark? It's pretty funny. God, where the mosquitoes are here?
Noah.
Oh,
Yes.
What's God? What's a cubit?
Oh, that's such a great.
Oh, there's another funny one about the Environmental Protection Agency just after Noah. It's not from Bill Cosby.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, that was funny.
I
It's
can't believe that.
It's brilliant.
Now you're talking
Oh,
Nate's
they-
language.
they,
Like funny skits.
What do you call it, people? The
The EPA, environmental.
EPA,
or-
yes, and the climate change people. All the-
They had bad climate change then.
Yeah, you could
The
definitely.
water really rose.
That it did. That it did. So let's go back to the material. Where's the material?
14 and 6.
614.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to read that again. Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood. And you shall make the ark with rooms and you cover it inside and out pitch. So generally speaking, if God's telling you to make something with certain materials, they're symbolic to it. So if you look at gopher, the term for gopher, it is closely related to the term for sulfur and brimstone, which we would think of as judgment biblically. So the wood is representative of judgment, but notice how it's completely covered with pitch, which I'm just going to look
That
up.
was Moses' basket.
Waterproofing, pitches.
It's waterproofing, but the word itself also plays a role. Let me just.
You're talking about fence?
3724 is, which is the number in the Strong's Hebrew Concordance. It is used for coding. It's also translated as ransom, satisfaction, bribe, campfire, pitch, sum of money, village. And it's closely related to another word, afar, which is to cover. And that's frequently used for atonement, purge, reconciliation, reconcile, forgive, purge away, pacify, atonement made, merciful, cleansed, disannul, appease, put off, pardon, and then pitch. So, and those words actually rhyme. So the natural connection that a Hebrew would make would be those two words are directly related, and the pitch completely covers it. It atones for it, the judgment. So the judgment is you're being protected by the pitch, which protects. Like it's again wonderful symbolism. I'm doing a horrible job explaining it, but hopefully.
No, I'm getting it. You were telling me this about before, like the water represents the baptism and stuff.
There's also a whole lot of stuff
Well, I
there.
thought that you were talking about the water was probably judgment.
The water
That's
is,
what I thought you were just trying to express.
the wood itself is associated with judgment.
The woods associated with judgment?
The wood itself, the wood is associated with judgment. It's completely covered with pitch, so no water can get in, which is associated with annulment or appeasement or something like that. So the judgment is completely encased in appeasement.
And those who are inside are free from any judgment.
They're free from judgment because I would assume the pitch would be also on the inside, just in case it springs a leak. You got two layers.
Good point.
So again, there's the picture. If you look at the Ark of the Covenant, if you look at Moses' basket, by the way, all those words are related. We see similar pictures of judgment or something being covered and protecting from either protecting what's inside from what's outside or protecting what's outside from what's inside, depending on which one you.
Okay, that's true.
So would Jesus be considered a form of ark?
Yes, as a matter of fact, if you read the symbolism for the Ark of the Covenant, can only be Jesus. That is the Ark. symbolically. The wood is representative of a perfect man. The gold on the outside is representative of divinity. And then what's encased inside being the Ten Commandments, manna, and Aaron's staff that budded is all representative of different things. But biggest thing is the Ten Commandments is inside encased. If you touch the ark, you die instantly. If you open it up, you'll be looking directly at the Ten Commandments and you die instantly.
Wait, they had the 10 Commandments in the ark?
I'm talking about the ark.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was mad confused. I was just like, wait. I'm like, how? Because I remember that is what the ark of the covenant. That's why I was getting confused.
Sorry, I probably should have specified.
No,
Ark of the
sorry.
Covenant. So I switched arcs there, but this one is just, it could also, since the types exist, you can, generally speaking, once you see something, it gets expanded more and more. So the first time we see the word for ark is Noah's Ark, and then we see it again for Moses' Get. And then we finally see it fully explained in the Ark of the Covenant. So it builds upon each other. So yes, Jesus would be the ark.
So whoever's in possession of the Ark of the Covenant in today's time also has possession of the 10 Commandments.
Yes.
Interesting. So those would be in the same spot.
If you look about, you're dead. So unless that stopped when Jesus died, which I can't say for sure because not talking about.
I guess maybe they learned the hard way and just kept it locked up.
Oh, they definitely learned the hard way of David's time.
Yes, they did.
Isn't there a claim that there's an Ethiopian monk that guards the ark?
Heard that claim. Is it true? I don't know. Maybe not. There's all kinds of claims out there. Some of them I say, oh, probably. Someone say probably not. That one is definitely within the realm of probability. But I think it's more likely what happened is what
Probably in the middle of Israel somewhere in a cave. Or in some temple hidden somewhere deep.
I've heard that claim.
We got to ask Indiana Jones.
That it's
Yes,
underneath
yes.
where Jesus.
He knows the guy.
crucified.
Yes, ask Indiana Jones. He knows exactly where it is.
Yes, he knows.
Maybe I should give that one a watch again.
It could help.
That movie's actually pretty interesting because the Nazis actually really were obsessed with it.
They really were. That's not it. You're right. That Hitler was trying to get whatever he could to get power.
Spiritual.
They were
Yeah,
really
he
a
was a
cult.
weirdo. He even talked to demons and stuff. He had little caves and stuff in the special secret spot. He would go do rituals at.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Okay, so now we're to the entry point of the ark. So can someone read Genesis 7:6-17?
7, 6, or 7. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. So Noah with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds, and of everything that creeps on the earth. 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as God had commanded Noah.
1 second. 2 by 2, but that does, so both male and female walked up together. It does not necessarily mean 2 of each animal, as it did mention the clean stuff.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Continue.
And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the heaven were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark.
Is that 16? Okay, come.
No, you're fine. They and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, and every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noah 2 by 2 of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. To those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God commanded him, and the Lord shut him. So,
Jesus was the one who closed the door. God closed the door and sealed it up, which is a perfect picture of the fact that we cannot do anything for our salvation. We can do all this work to help make ourselves sanctified, but we cannot save ourselves. So let's go back here. So first off, Noah was 600 years old. If we look at, so if we take each century of his life and say, okay, this is day 1, this is day 2, this is day 3, day 4, etc. It's got 600th. The time of man, the creation of man. Okay, that comes afterwards, full creation of recreation, repopulation of the earth again. New Eden almost. Not quite fully, but again, see the same pictures as we saw back in Genesis 1. It's amazing how frequently when you map out people's lives or anything to this 7-day thing, you find it lines up perfectly.
Which is crazy little things.
It's crazy. Now let's go back to this. Okay, so they entered the ark, and then it came about after 7 days that the water of the flood came. So we spent 1 week in the ark. No rain, no nothing. God doesn't seal it until the rain starts.
Interesting.
Well, did he give them 7 days for people to get on and nobody did?
And also, don't you think that for those 7 days that people around them were yelling there, "Oh, where's the rain?"
Now, it's a question. Now, I read earlier that God said that Noah and his family were the only righteous ones. So would God have wanted the other unrighteous people on the boat?
No,
So I'm wondering if that's true. And when people say, "Oh, they were all invited onto the boat," no, none of them were invited to come.
well, also God knows everything you do that no one else is going to get on.
But that's true.
And then the very same day that the water does, door gets closed, everything comes.
So, yes.
Well, the 7-day creation, and then on the 7th day was the rest, and then that was it. Right?
Yep. And then the 8th
6
day is
days of
rebirth.
loading up, and
And then we also got 7-year tribulation. We got all this stuff that all lines up with the same pattern. What's even more interesting is that 7 days also maps out to, if you look at Passover, lamb is selected on the first day of Passover week, then it gets closed up, then it gets sacrificed partway through. So we can just go back to looking at the Jesus's Holy Week or Passion Week, that's what it's called. Comes in entry announcing he's the Messiah. So being a selection, he gets killed halfway through and resurrects on the 7th day. So we got that. The other interesting parallel is due to the way the Jewish schedule calendar works and the fact that God changed the calendar partway through due to the Passover, this is now actually perfectly lines up with not when the Passover happened, but the second Passover. If you were unclean and missed the first Passover because you were close to a dead person or for whatever reason, the next month you could celebrate the Passover, so you weren't left out of the assembly. It's the same dates.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Could somebody have thought of this beforehand when they were ready to go? I guess.
But that's a lot of work.
Just saying, is it within the realm of possibility? Because both of these books were written by Moses, but Moses was a really smart man to come up with that.
And to be fair, he definitely was not. My boy said, "I am slow to speak. These people don't listen to me. I need you guys."
Although interestingly enough, you never see him have his brother actually speak.
that's why this is all God breathed.
I think it's evidence.
They wouldn't be able to think of it on their own.
Especially keeping it consistent 4,500 years of history. It would have been a hard body task to do.
It would be. So here's another thing. If Jesus perfectly fulfilled the first Passover when he came the first time, and this is the same dates as the second Passover, for if you miss it because you're close to a dead person, you think there might be some timing having to do with that coming up for when he returns again?
Yes.
I would guess so. Do I have it all mapped out? No, not yet. That's a different project. But yes, that's on there. So very interesting little things. And now, you guys said this earlier. Can somebody go to Matthew 24, verses 27 through 39? Someone else, 1 Peter 3:20, and somebody else, 2 Peter 2:5.
What was it? First Peter?
1 Peter 3:20.
Matthew 24.
27 through, just start in verse 27. I don't think what I wrote down there is right. So let's start.
For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened.
Actually, start 26.
26. Therefore, if they say to you, "Look, he is in the desert," do not go out. Or, "Look, he is in the inner rooms," do not believe it. All right. Nate's like, "We're here."
Oh, okay. I must have written this down wrong.
You talk about Matthew 24.
Matthew 24. He specifically says, as in the days of Noah. Just say that in your, where you can see it real quick there.
No.
Can you Google in the days of Noah? It should show
Yes.
where it is. What scripture it is.
37.
Is it 37? Oh, okay. So that's where it's.
So you didn't get to it yet.
Okay. All right. So verse 37. For the come. Oh, actually, I'll just start right here. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But of that day and hour, no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, but the Father alone. For the coming of the Son of Man will be just like the days of Noah. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand until the flood came and took them all away. So will the coming of the Son of Man be.
Hey, Jesus is coming back.
So, as in the days of Noah, that's going to be. I'm confused here. It says no one knows the day or hour. It's going to be just like the days of Noah. Knew what was coming. Interesting. Danny, beforehand.
Well, he knew it was coming, but he didn't know the day or the hour.
Right.
Sure.
They were
Yeah.
He knew the
still
season.
adamantly building and preparing, but it wasn't like they knew, okay, it's 10 o'clock, 15 minutes, it's gonna start raining.
I bet he had a sneaky suspicion when the door closed on its own that something big was about to happen.
I like, oh,
Just saying. It's
But
gotta be big enough to allow at
before
least to
he
be there.
no,
But he knew, God said go in for 7 days, and he sat there, and all of a sudden the door closed. Just saying, and
be like, well, it's time.
let's go back to what it said right here, because that's just more of a side point. That's really why. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark. So until the day he entered the ark, which was 7 days before, they were doing all this. What it says,
What do you at, 20?
that's verse 38.
Yes.
So what happened there?
I don't like.
They were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage. Those are the big keys that he says there. So eating and drinking, generally speaking, when you say that in the biblical times, it's talking about partying.
Like debauchery.
Yes.
And marrying and giving in marriage. Well, weren't the angels having children with humans?
Yes.
Marrying?
And is that not marrying or giving in marriage?
That's exactly what that is. And I'm pretty confident that's what he's referencing, especially since everyone at that time would have thought that, oh, the days of Noah, this is what he's talking about. That's what's the thought there.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that. I thought he meant they were just having normal daily life.
That's how we read it now, because we're 2,000 years removed, and probably like 700-800 years at least removed from when people were really believing in spiritual stuff, like supernatural.
People don't even believe in demons anymore.
Yeah, I did.
So who's got 1 Peter 3:20?
I do.
All right.
3:20, which sometime were disobedient when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, within few, that is, 8 souls were saved by water. So 8 souls were saved by water.
Saved by the water. The water will come up in the boat.
So is that like baptism?
That's exactly what it is. When you're
When you
baptized,
come back up, you're
when you're baptized,
reborn.
you're literally declaring to all this spiritual realm, I have died with Christ. And think about this for the demons. I died with Christ by going under the water. These demons that died in the flood, and now you're coming back out, which they can never do.
God loves throwing it in their face. They had one chance. I love it. It's just fantastic. Every second they're reminded they're going to lose.
And what happens to most believers shortly after their baptism?
They get attacked.
Very heavily. Why do you think that might be?
Because you publicly declare. So you pretty much are now on the field. They pretty
Throwing
much know
it in
you're
their
ready for
face.
war.
You just declared war and threw in their face that
You
you
put
did sin.
crosshairs on.
And now
And,
they're like, well, time to kill you.
and you pissed them
No,
off.
they do.
I know, because they're not
They do.
nice.
They came at me once I got baptized, really bad.
It was good for a few days.
You're one of them.
I saw what you did,
Yes,
and I didn't get to come out of the water.
I want you back.
They'll be my dark.
And 2 Peter 2:5.
Okay.
He rescued us from the power of darkness
That's right.
and,
and placed us in his light.
and did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, the 7 others, when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly.
Can you read the whole paragraph?
Okay. For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them into pits of darkness, preserved their judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, with 7 others when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly. That's 4 and 5.
Perfect. That's what I was looking for. Wait, doesn't that sound like exactly what we talked about last week? Those verses make a whole lot more sense, doesn't it? And when you sit there and try to say the sons of God coming into the daughters of men was some Canaanite line versus the Sethite line. 2 Peter 2 verses 4 and 5.
I'm right in the beginning. It said about the seed war. Anyway, so where are you going to get a seed war if you're not having a seed war? And then should that seed war.
That's right. There's a lot of passages in Peter and Jude and even a bunch of passages that Paul writes that reference stuff like this. And if you don't understand this bigger view with the spiritual coming into play like this, those verses are really hard to understand. And I'll put this also out there. If you try to read the New Testament without understanding the Old, get a lot of passages you're like, what am I reading? We already read it, but you can read it again. 2 Peter 2, verses 4 and 5. That's what Laura just read.
No, I'm just trying to
You just want to read it yourself.
yes.
So the translation that I've normally heard for what you just read is sends them binds them up in Tartarus, which is the Greek, where the Titans were bound in Greek mythology, which is the deepest pit of the underworld.
So it's like the worst place in hell currently.
That's right. And if you go back to Jesus' story of the rich man and Lazarus, there's a big gulf between people in hell, Hades, whatever
When
you
you
want to
talk
call it.
about the bottomless pit,
Bottomless pit is another name.
The abyss.
The abyss, there's this big separation, and that's where they're bound until they get released during.
did you ever do a study on Saturn? Me and Big Steve went down this rabbit hole. You gotta look at the Star and David and Saturn. They're like interconnected. Yeah.
Interesting.
Just like the symbol of the Star of David, how the Nazis placed that on the Jews. What does that symbol mean? You go down a rabbit hole, that's a rabbit hole.
And the Star of David is
Six-pointed
not.
star.
Yes, that's not Hebrew.
No.
That's
And how that is placed on their flag and not the menorah.
right. They adopted it after.
Because they were all branded it. That's what the Nazis did. They had a brand. That brand, they put it right on that symbol, put it right on every single Jew. Now they're using that to
So wait, that isn't a Hebrew thing?
nothing to do with that.
It only became a Hebrew thing because the Nazis put it
Look
on
up the
those Jews.
symbol. That's
That's
crazy.
it. I didn't know that.
Do some research about that symbol.
If you want to have some fun, you can go into what the Nazis did and stuff. And by fun, I mean have your mind a little blown. It's not a very happy story. Okay, actually, there's nothing happy about these things, but
Yeah.
it's eye-opening to say the least when you go into it. Go ahead, read it out loud.
It was designed to give them a public identity, to identify, stigmatize, humiliate them, and it was designed to isolate Jews from the rest of the population, restrict their movements, and facilitate segregation, deportation, and mass murder.
That was the purpose of it, but I bet if you
Damn.
there's more detail in there. But I think that might be a little going
And
on.
then it said the badge made it virtually impossible for Jews to blend into the general public or hide their identity. So it was pretty much they can never not be pulled out.
And then how many Christians got that on their neck or Catholics? How many priests have that as a symbol on their hats or on their robes?
It's really
That symbol.
It's like a precursor because they're all branded on their.
Go down the rabbit hole symbol. Put that
Because
symbol in the
of
search.
what's to come.
so.
Oh, dang.
So I'll ask everyone here about 3 minutes to 9. We've covered basically everything I want. I have some other things we can talk about if you want to, but it's getting too late. It's not really that big a deal.
Either way,
What
Okay,
do you guys want to do?
so let's see here. I need to find the actual verse. Just bear with me. Thank you, Aaron, for finding verses for me so I don't have to memorize locations. Okay, can somebody read Luke 17, 26 through 30?
Luke 17, 6 through 30.
26 through 30.
Oh, where do you?
26 or 17, 26 through 30.
17, 6 through 30.
26 through 30. It's a short one.
I got it. Just as it was in the days of Noah, so also will be the days of the Son of Man. People were eating and drinking, marrying, and being given in marriage up to the day of Noah entered the ark. When the flood came and destroyed them all, it was the same as the days of Lot. People were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. But the days of Lot left Sodom and fire and sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. It will be just like this in the day of the sons of man is revealed in the day. No one who is in the housetop with possessions inside should go down to them. Likewise, no one else should go back to anything. And it was like weird when we were talking about this. I'm like, there's like a parallel with Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah
Yep.
with Noah.
There's a
With the
huge
flood.
parallel here. So first,
It's all about judgment.
it's very much about judgment. But first, you notice that if we go back to Genesis, remember in Hebrew, the Hebrew culture, when you read something and it's parallel wording, it should be referring back. You should be pulling those passages out. So it says here, 7. Then Noah and his sons and his wife's sons with him entered of the ark because of the waters of the flood. And then verse 10, it goes, it came about after the 7 days that the water of the flood came upon the earth. And then it says on this in verse 11, part B, I guess, on the same day, all the fountains of the great deep burst open and the floodgates of the sky rolled. Back to the loop Luke here. It says, just in the days of Noah, so the days some people were eating, drinking, marrying, being given in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. Talked about there's a week here. We just talked about that. Then the flood came, destroyed them all. So there was 7-year peace, but Noah's still in the ark, hidden from everything. Door's still open, but he's hidden away. Then in the days of Lot, so the days of Lot when he was living in Sodom, people were eating, drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. That's some different phraseologies. You read about in Revelation, you'll hear about all that stuff that Babel was doing, the nation of Babel to the future Babel kingdom. But the day Lot left Sodom, the day, for the day, we just read that here back in Genesis. Fire, sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. Remember we talked about the gopher wood being sulfur and brimstone.
Yes.
So we got 1 week, Noah disappears off the earth, but there's still an opening. And then that final day, everything slams shut. And that was the day of destruction, fire and brimstone came. That will be as the return of the Son of Man.
But I'm noticing in these stories too, not many buried people get out. I wonder if that's going to be a very low turnaround.
But if we take it this way,
We're learning
if
the cutterman.
if Noah is the church, because Lot wasn't acting righteous at all. If Noah is the church,
No, it was evil.
Noah was a church, he went into the ark and everything, there's still 7 days or 7 years, as we frequently hear about for the tribulation. There's still a way to be saved. But that final day is the day that the door slammed shut. Lot was pulled out right before him, which would be arguably the tribulation saints. And then fire and brimstone comes coming down. And we typically call that Armageddon.
Okay, so it's
And
going to.
after the tribulation.
Armageddon, right?
So what's the whole concept with Lot's wife? How she turned back and looked?
So that's a warning. So we could say Lot in the flood. So that's a warning. She didn't just turn back and look. She looked with long. She wanted it back. Meanwhile, fire and brimstone's coming down. She all around her, everything. Most likely,
Destruction. And she's missing it.
She went back with remorse.
she looked back with remorse because she wanted to go back there, and that's why she was judged.
And that was the flood.
So if you want
Did she
to,
still belong to God though?
it doesn't sound like her heart was ever in it.
Oh, okay.
So to answer your question, I don't think she ever was.
Oh,
belonging.
She was of the world and then she
What was
was
it?
Yeah.
It was the Holy Spirit. She turned to dust, but she seen the Holy Spirit, right?
No, but it was punishment for her.
I know, but what was it that actually did it? It was the Holy Spirit, right?
Probably the Holy Spirit's actually turned her into a pillar of salt. So if you missed the first entrance into the ark, you've got a week, and those are the days of Lot. Sodom is a lot worse. It's very descriptive. We know about that. And you have a choice. You get ready to get out of there. Make sure you're leaving, and make sure you're not thinking, "Oh, I really wish I could go back to my sinful ways," or else I'm sorry.
Or it could have been-
find a simple lifestyle.
Don't get dwelling on your physical possessions because you're not going to be able to take them with you, but that could be what you can.
And this is when the judgment's coming down. And realistically, they actually have archaeological evidence of this. What looked like happened for Sodom, or at least that plain area, is a meteorite came down and exploded in the sky, creating a big bright light. And those came down and started hitting pockets of sulfur that was buried. So flaming rock came and blew up pockets of sulfur. And this was happening in the entire plain, which is why they had to run to the caves to get safe. So there's that. And then if you really want to get something weird, if you use the 50-year Jubilee, there's 2 theories on Jubilee cycles. I hold to the 50-year Jubilee. There's an exact number of Jubilees between Noah, the ark, and when Lot, and it was Sodom and Gomorrah. There's an exact match. And if you map those out to the 1,000 years, it actually, a day equals 1,000 years. It was the morning sacrifice time for the flood. It was the evening sacrifice for Sodom and Gomorrah. You were looking at the Jewish sacrifices. And now, if you look at where we are and you use that 1,000-year time, we are almost right at the evening. The evening sacrifice should be starting sometime between 2028 and 2032.
That's why you were saying 2030.
Which makes sense, because there was just something I saw today where Elon Musk was on saying that they'll know within 5 years, they don't think there's going to be phones. So there's going to be your mark coming. That's how you're going to communicate, because there's not going to be your cell phone. What are you going to use?
could very well.
It's gonna be.
To be honest, if the mark sounds like what it's going to be, it makes you immortal. You need it to buy food and trade. Gonna need it for communication. More people are going to take it than not.
Immunization.
People are going to be like,
Maybe-
sweet. Like my uncle said, they're going to make me a cyborg. I'll take it. That's what he said. That's literally how he feels. Like, I'll become a cyborg. He's like, I'll be powerful and I won't die.
But
I'm like,
yeah.
dude, you are
I
dumb.
mean, they've been starting like the whole financial with credit cards, and how long has that been going on for?
19. Well, not credit's been a thing since.
And
the
then
20s.
now they're actually doing implants. Supposedly there's implants in people's hands that are
And your
attached to their
head.
credit card.
There's this implant that Elon Musk has that can cure blindness.
So before we continue the Mark of the Beast conversation, I want to remind everybody, Mark of the Beast happens after the Antichrist is actively revealed, and you will not know what it is. You will not be confused. So everyone will, and there are so many people get all worried about, oh, when is this the mark? If you have to ask, is the mark? Is this the mark? That's not the mark.
You won't, they won't sneak, it's not the COVID vaccine
No.
or something, it's not somebody sneak to you.
No,
You
that
know,
was
where you
just
take
to
a
warm
look.
you up. Like, how many people are willing to take a shot?
I feel that was a warm-up segment
That's
to
all
see
it
how it
is.
would be. It was a little play test.
It was.
You know what
You
it is.
gotta remember, in the beginning, they were giving out free French fries.
I called it ground zero forever. It was their first time testing something like that to see how well they can assimilate society, and I'd say they had about 98% success
They
rate.
did. They had a 98% success rate.
You had people walking around with literal
You had-
cloth
didn't you say you
masks
ended up
talking
getting-
about it's going to save
you
us. They
ended
just
up
got
getting a
people
shot?
believing everything.
Didn't you say you ended up getting the first shot?
I'm not vaccinated. Now, if they have a hantavirus shot, I'd be inclined to take it.
Oh, which one?
The new hantavirus, I don't want to get that at all. So I'll take the shit.
That's just like
When you got the shot on that, doesn't mean you're gonna take the.
you're least likely to be exposed to that.
Yeah.
If you're sleeping with a rat.
It's not. it's
Unless
not-
they're lying about how this Orleans County stuff happened, because they said there were cases in Orleans County and now it went quiet.
Well, those
I'm
cases
with
were a
rats every
different
day. I'll be
version.
the first one, so you better get vaccinated if you're gonna sit next to me. I am. I'm with rats.
But
every
then
day.
not just that, you go and see, what's his name? Scotty, right? He's in Holly.
Yes.
He's with a bunch of people that germs are swimming around in that building.
Oh, dude, I know. He's viral.
It's like a
You got
bacteria
Jesus.
frappe.
What do you have to worry about?
That's what he's been telling me. He's like, I
Oh,
know. what we need
Jesus.
for-
Like Scotty's been getting sick, hasn't
Has he been getting
he?
sick?
Yeah.
Not more than normal.
Well, one of the morning.
He already is sick. He's got
Yeah.
cancer. So.
Scott.
Doesn't he? Or is it diabetes?
It's diabetes.
Isn't it vascular disease or something?
It's
I don't
both.
know.
Man,
Oh,
Scott's
okay.
a little bit more mess than I thought.
All right. And that's going to end this session for today, at least for the recording.